and welcome to Just Ask Freeman TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Freeman Owen Jr. He's the CEO of Financial Sources Incorporated. Freeman, how are you today?
Glad to be here. Doing very, very well. We've got some exciting topics that we have to share with our viewing audience today.
We most definitely do. I'm so excited because we're talking about such a very important topic, planning for retirement. And so often people are going into their retirement years, if you will, without a plan. They may go and grab those statements out of the mailbox, but Freeman, that's not a plan.
That's not. And speaking of statements, folks have come to my office with unopened envelopes with the statements enclosed and saying, Freeman, would you mind opening this for me? I haven't seen how my investments have been working over the past year or 2 years. I said, sure, and I'll rip it open. Because we have mentioned many times that our planning is centered around making sure that the participant or the client has the peace of mind knowing that his money is safe or her money is safe.
Absolutely.
And generating guaranteed lifetime income they can't outlive and providing a legacy. Well, today, we're going to look, the closer that you get to retirement, the more you need to make sure your plan is helping you keep your money safe. And you'll be leading the way on today's show on some ideas and strategies that can help us just do that.
Absolutely, Freeman. So let's jump in there and let's talk about how important is it for someone to carefully select their investments, if you will.
Okay. Employer-sponsored retirement accounts, there are some limited options, of course, but a lot of those options to select to allocate your lifetime earnings to is very risky and very volatile. Okay. So that's why we usually offer a detailed, tax-efficient plan program that is written out when you do a direct rollover to a trustee to trustee, all right, non-taxable event to your own IRA. There's more options, and we can help reduce the volatility because you really can't afford the ups and downs and uncertainty of your nest egg. You've been saving, what, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years. Well, if you want to know, folks, how to reduce volatility and risk on your assets, just ask Freeman. Call us at 833-414-7233 and get a tax-efficient report. And matter of fact, it's going to cover everything from A to Z. I like to give you this instruction. Go to SSA.gov, download, print out your Social Security statement. We're going to get together virtually, bring to your statements that I mentioned. In fact, some folks didn't even open the envelopes. This is true. They were afraid to go in those envelopes to see what their account values are.
Sure.
Well, have those available, all righty? And then we'll discuss how to reduce that volatility that's in your portfolio and keeping your money safe and generating guaranteed lifetime income that you cannot possibly outlive. And also setting up a legacy the right way for non-spouses. Okay. Let me see, what else? There's something else, though. This lady called in. She indicated decreased volatility by diversifying.
Yes, and I think we should definitely talk about that. I thought she was really incredible with her question because it kind of goes back to that saying of all your eggs in one basket. She wanted to get your opinion about spreading that out a little bit so she didn't have everything in one basket. What are your thoughts on that, Freeman?
All right. Now, I won't give her investment tax or legal advice, but what I will say, that portfolio need to be diversified.
Okay.
And there should be enough money set aside, such that it will generate guaranteed income. Not all your money, but some. And some folks like a lot of risk. We had a situation here. As a matter of fact, it was one of our earlier shows. A gentleman called in and says he was around 74 years old. And he called and says, well, all my money's in equities. And I told him, but see, the thing is, I didn't know his age at that time. I said, well, how old are you, sir? He said, well, I'm 73. I said, well, all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, yeah.
And any type of volatility or any wave comes in that disturbs the market, you could lose a substantial amount of your lifetime earnings.
Sure.
And he said his broker told him to stay the course. And I said, well, okay. Well, about, let me see, we did this a few months ago. Sent me an email at Freeman at justaskfreeman.com.
Okay.
He says, hey, man, look, take a look at my portfolio. I'm losing money fast.
Oh, boy.
So we set up a virtual meeting, and this was over a year now, and we straightened out his assets to give him comfort, such that he knew that his assets now are safe. Okay?
Okay.
And we used instruments to give him guaranteed income. He cannot outlive, his spouse cannot outlive it, and we exercised a program such that his adult children would receive a legacy, and we minimized the tax risk. If you want to know how to do that, just ask Freeman, folks. Call us at 833-414-7233. I like for all our new clients, excuse me, to get this text, 10 IRA mistakes, and the
Great
tax
book.
traps that go along with those mistakes. All righty?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great book. Wanted to ask you, Freeman, in your opinion, before we go to the commercial break
Yes.
for the first time today, how important is it for someone to understand their risk tolerance, their risk level, if you will?
You know, we mentioned the fact that we have young people who are recent graduates, or they have a skill set and they're starting their first job. They're young.
Yeah.
They could recover. If you lose 30% of your nest egg and you're 25, it would, and the 3% return, it takes about 12 years to get back from the bottom to get even. Now, the younger you are, you could take the risk of more volatility.
Sure.
Because you have the opportunity to recover the loss. But what if you're 65?
Yeah,
What if you're
exactly.
55? It's not as easy to recover the loss from the market volatility.
Sure.
It's just hard to get back to even.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
don't have the time.
You don't
or
have the time.
patience. Absolutely.
And you got the patience maybe, but you just don't have the time. Just right.
Well, Freeman, this is the perfect time for us to open up the phone lines to the viewers at home. Would you agree?
I agree.
All right. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 833-414-7233. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably, retire with confidence. Freeman is offering you a complimentary consultation today. Now, you can meet in person or you can meet virtually. It's up to you with what you're comfortable with. But again, he's here for you if you have any questions. Remember, just ask Freeman. That number is 833-414-7233. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have so much more about how to plan your perfect retirement. Please stay tuned.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Just Ask Freeman TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Freeman Owen Jr. He is the CEO of Financial Sources Incorporated. Freeman, a wonderful show that we're having today talking about planning properly for retirement. So let me jump right in and ask you, how important is it to shift to more conservative investments over time?
You know, we talked about that the last segment. Somewhat slightly, we hit upon that. The recovery time. Like I said, I said, well, look, we might be patient, but we won't have the time to recover. You shift more into a conservative mode. Also is important to have short-term money.
Okay.
You know, when I do the tax-efficient written report, I talk about having emergency monies for unexpected expenses.
Okay.
I mean, I've experienced that myself. One of the coldest days in the winter here, this past winter, furnace went out.
Uh-oh.
I tell you, unexpected expense.
Yep.
We had to replace that furnace, else my family would have froze. So it dipped in that short-term emergency money, and folks didn't use a credit card, but had put aside funds short-term and liquid in order to take care of that unexpected expense. So it's very, very important. Once you enter retirement, you need more readily available assets. The money you need for living expenses in the next few years, you really don't need to put that in the market, in the volatility. You need accessibility because you don't know what can happen. Anything, flat tire. As simple as that.
True.
You may have to replace those tires. So short-term money and keeping that safe, okay? When there are crashes in the market, your employer-sponsored retirement account is at risk. You go up and down. So again, the client that, or the participant viewer who asks, you know, what should I do here? Shall I continue placing my assets in the market and I'm 55 or 60? Folks, it's hard to recover.
Sure.
Now, I'd like to make a little transition. Okay. You remember we talked about taking a year off?
Yes, test driving the retirement.
Take that year and test. I want to cover some items that is important. What happens a year later?
Yes, let's talk about that, because once you have a plan in place for someone, Freeman, is it a great idea to go back and revisit that plan to see what's working and what's not?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to look at the budget. We may, and most likely, will develop a new budget.
Okay.
We're still paying a mortgage, our utilities, our cable, transportation, okay?
Sure.
During these times, you might be working at home. You might not need to spend monies for gas, and the maintenance on automobiles can decrease. Food, healthcare. We're going to revisit that. And hopefully the expenditures have decreased in that 1 year period.
Okay.
Okay. That way we can determine what's working and what's not working. What needs to be changed.
What needs to be changed?
Folks, if you want to know, just ask Freeman. Call us at 833-414-7233. Now, here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like you to go to ssa.gov, download, print out your Social Security statement. Gather your statements from TSPs, 401ks, all the different statements, because you're going to get a second opinion, a review, a written report, tax efficient, and help me design for you guaranteed lifetime income, peace of mind, spousal continuation, and if you so desire, have a legacy for your non-spouses. Want to know how to do all that? Just ask Freeman. Call us at 833-414-7233.
Freeman, let me ask you a question. When you're entering the retirement years, how important is it to work with a financial advisor who specializes in retirement versus the younger years, the accumulation phase, if you will?
All right. I focus on individuals who are preparing for retirement.
Okay.
And have already retired. I look at distribution. We've already accumulated. You have those phases in growing your retirement dollars. But special care, honestly, really special care is taken for my retirees. I've got some 75, 80, 90 years old. Special care is on my part to make sure that those dollars, all right, are generating that comes from 401ks, TSPs, et cetera, generating guaranteed income.
Okay.
And a person who is an advisor like myself, where my wife is retired for the last 10, 12 years now, we set up her 401k.
Okay.
And she's a registered nurse.
Okay.
Retired supervisor, and didn't have a pension. How about that?
Wow.
Had we not made we made errors in our youth, corrected those errors, because for the most part, your institutions don't offer a pension today. However, you have the federal, the state, unions, railroads offer a pension. For the most part, we're left out there with no type of guidance, no training, and I mentioned the fact that the 401k, with its inception, was in 1978, and here you go, poof. Now, put some money in there every 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So you have to examine your patterns, financial patterns. An advisor like myself focusing on only keeping your dollars safe, peace of mind, guaranteed income. That's the bottom line. And service the client, quality of care, and be there. And as I mentioned, examine the spending patterns.
Yes.
Okay.
Very important.
Because we took a year off.
Yeah.
All right. We want to make sure our savings will last the rest of our lives. The rest of your life, folks. And if you want to know, just ask Freeman. Call me at 1-833-414-7233. Correction, 833-414-SAFE, 833-414-7233. Just ask Freeman. All right. There's a couple other questions you wanted to ask about.
I know, and it's incredible because I think a lot of people are, you mentioned creating, like you had mistakes when you were younger.
Yes.
A lot of people are calling in and they're wondering if they should be concerned about sharing those mistakes. I think people, when they're calling in, they sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, are you able to help me? So that's kind of where the questions we're guiding in that specific arena is, can you help with corrections if mistakes were made in the past?
Well, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. Some errors, you cannot recover from the mistakes. But for the most part, we do a pretty good job of correcting those errors. That's why you need that book.
Yes, absolutely.
The 10 IRA mistakes and how to avoid the tax traps. I'll tell you, because there are tax traps out there, and you do make errors when you were taking your distributions from qualified plans or pre-tax instruments, okay?
Perfect.
So you can, I've seen, just like this question came in, retirees can sometimes be over-generous with their children or grandchildren at the beginning of retirement.
Hold that thought, because let's go to the phone lines, because I definitely want to dive into that a little bit further, because we've talked about that before, and it's a great point.
It's a great point.
So we'll go to the phones first, Freeman. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 833-414-7233. Again, if you have questions about how to plan for your perfect retirement, Freeman is offering you the opportunity to call in today to take advantage of that complimentary consultation. Let him take a look at what your retirement goals and dreams are, and allow him to design a plan that's going to suit your needs and have guaranteed lifetime income. Again, the number to call is 833-414-7233. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place, then help determine if you are well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision. So why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you are getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
And welcome back to Just Ask Freeman TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Freeman Owen Jr. He's CEO of Financial Sources Incorporated. Freeman, a wonderful show that we're having today. And before we went to the commercial break, we talked about people that are maybe perhaps a little too over-generous with their children and grandchildren. Why is that a detriment to retirement?
Because funds are usually distributed from qualified plans to give our children or grandchildren big ticket items, automobiles, help them. And what happened, this is a true story. When I was a sophomore in college, one of the professors, I was taking an economics class, he says, you know what, you guys are going to retire one day. Okay. I'm 17, 18 years old. I retire. I'm having a good time here in college. So he said, now think about that. He said, your children or your grandchildren can drain your assets. I don't have any children. I don't have any grandchildren yet, okay? That stuck in my head because he was telling us, and this is what's happening today to many of our boomers.
Okay.
Here's one example. I spoke of college. Many of the retirees dipped into their savings, their lifelong savings, to pay college tuition. And tuition has increased significantly over the last 10 years, to the point of grandparents or parents, possibly, take that pen and co-sign student loans. For student loans.
Okay.
Now, and that could be, and I've talked to some of the boomers, well, they need to get through. I say, well, what's the balance on the loan? And I said, did you co-sign? Yes, 75,000, 100,000. So sometime as parents and grandparents, we're overly generous. I hate to use that. I should say just like I asked the question, are your children dependent?
Yeah.
Are they codependent or independent? And most of them say, well, they're independent, they finished school, they're married now, they have their children. But then the ones that are dependent and codependent, I always give the example, like one might have finished school, all right, or have a trade.
Okay.
Go out into the real world and see that rent.
Yeah.
And come on back home. So,
That's true.
well, there's increased cost in food.
Sure.
They may not have any transportation. You're helping.
True.
This is true. And you and I, the other day, on one of our shows, I think what we did is compared how we boomers retire.
Yes.
And the expectations of our children and grandchildren compared to the way our parents had the expectation.
Absolutely.
All right? 18, you had a choice. You could work, you can go in the military, or you can go to school.
That's true.
All right. So it was expected that you move on at 18.
Yeah.
And maybe our parents might have set up a fund for us to go to college, but no school loans. We come out, get in our professions, marry, have children. But we didn't depend on our parents as much as today. We boomers who are retired Many of our children and grandchildren depend upon us for financing. So that's the bottom line on that. Now, you can add to that if you like, but I've seen it happen.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Freeman, my thought always goes to when you're on an airline flight, if you will, they always say, put your mask on first and then assist the person next to you.
Exactly.
So that equates in retirement, too. You have to make sure that you're taking care of your needs first before you're helping others. And believe me, it's easy to do when you love someone. You just want to keep giving and keep helping. But much to your point, sometimes it can be at your own
detriment,
default, if you will.
And so I've often said now, it's all about you.
Yeah.
Okay. The children are younger; they can, survive. But it's all about you, and you can set up a legacy for your children. But we have to take care of you because your life expectancy is going to carry you into your 80s and 90s, and you need income.
Sure.
You need predictable income. You need guaranteed income. And I'm here to help. You want to know, folks, just askfreeman.com. Here's the instructions I'd like to give you. Go to ssa.gov. Download, print out your Social Security statement. All right. We're going to have a virtual meeting, complimentary. All righty. Bring to that meeting your investable assets, or I should say income-producing assets, and we'll do a review. That way you can get a written statement, all right, a tax-efficient statement, find out the amount of income that you will need that will last your lifetime, know when to file, and how to maximize your Social Security benefits. It's all yours. Just ask Freeman. Call us at 833-414-7233. And you know what? That clock on the wall.
I know. I was going to add to that, Freeman, just by saying that most importantly, it alleviates that number one fear that people have entering retirement, which is running out of money. By designing a plan that's going to help suit their needs, you're guaranteeing the income is going to be there that they need for their specific needs.
Exactly.
It's a great offer that you're making to the viewers at home today.
Yes.
So thank you again for another amazing show this week. I'm always amazed by how fast the time goes when we're together.
It really is.
Definitely. Most importantly, to the viewers at home, we want to thank you for spending time with us again today. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably and with confidence. All you have to do is remember one thing, just ask Freeman. That number to call is 833-414-7233. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back here again 1 week from today, same time, same location. Thank you.